In an op-ed in the Chicago Tribune, two professors at Loyola University are taking a closer look at gun violence in Chicago and if it's out of control.
They also look at how the pandemic impacted gun violence in the city, along with the number of handguns produced and purchased in the U.S. Joining us now to talk about what they found is Loyola Professor of Criminal Justice and Criminology, David Olson. Good morning.
Good morning.
You say the numbers are down, but there seems to be a randomness to shootings these days that didn't seem to be the case in 2000 when the numbers were way higher. Do you agree with that? And if so, what is behind that?
Yeah, I think it's important to keep the part of our op-ed was intended to provide some larger context to the trends that we've seen in the last few years. As you point out, the last few years, specifically with firearm violence, has gone up a lot. It's kind of breaking with a long-term consistency we've usually seen with all forms of crime kind of moving in the same direction. So overall crime is down, but obviously from media coverage and from the statistics, we know that firearm violence in recent years has gone up. And it's one of the few crimes that has gone up in the last few years. So we think it's a combination of the economic instability created by the pandemic. But we also know that in the last 5 years, the number of firearms produced and purchased for the public has gone up a lot, and it's likely that those firearms are, some of those firearms are ending up in the hands of young individuals who may use those in dangerous ways.
I think the numbers tend to be confusing to people because it's, gun violence is up, yet overall violent crime was only 24%, 76% you said was property violence. Now, when you say property violence, does that include carjacking? That's property.
Right. There's generally two ways we look at crimes. There's violent crimes, and then there's crimes against property. Carjacking is actually a form of robbery, so it's a type of violent crime. It's important to keep in mind most crime does not involve a victim being physically harmed. It involves things like thefts and burglaries and stealing things from people's cars without the people present. Violent crime accounts for a very small percent of overall crime, and even a violent crime, a fairly small percent of that involves crimes committed with a firearm. So that's part of our point of the op-ed, was to raise awareness that when we talk about overall crime, that we have seen success over the last 2 decades in terms of reducing overall crime. The one specific type of crime that has been increasing in recent years is fortunately the rarest crime, but it's also that which imposes the most harm to society, and obviously homicides are the most serious offense. So it's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying so figuring out the solution to that very specific crime and the different forms of it are what are important.
So do you see a policy that is working well and one that is not working well? Some policies may include broken windows, which they use in New York, and some attribute to success and others say no. What are your thoughts about policies that work and don't?
Yeah, I think a lot of times the public wants policies that can be implemented quickly and can address the problem overnight. Unfortunately, those policies don't exist. But we see efforts by elected officials to sway public opinion that if we just hired more police, that alone would reduce firearm violence. That may contribute to it, but there is no single solution. It's really the collection of a lot of policies that we know are effective in terms of increasing access to services for individuals most at risk, those kinds of things that take some time to implement. They have to be sustained. But again, we've seen that over the last 2 to 3 decades that we have been effective generally at reducing crime. It's this specific form of violence that in recent years has kind of bucked that trend.
All right, David Olson from Loyola University, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And you can check out the full op-ed in the Chicago Tribune. It's titled "Gun Violence Dominates the News, but Is Crime Out of Control in Chicago?" Hey, Morgan.
Hey, good morning. We've got sunny skies. There's a live look